Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture. He's Adam Nicholas from WhatCulture, and we are here to tell you what went down at SummerSlam. Well, never mind all the matches. Let's talk about the most important part, the biggest takeaway from SummerSlam. Adam Nicholas, Roman Reigns is back. He is huge. He's got new teeth, and he doesn't mess about.
You said before we started this, we can't swear, but I really want to swear. I'm not going to. We'll get to everything about the rest of the pay-per-view at some point. What I would argue is on the way down towards the end of the pay-per-view, this was a massive big end to this show, and it will be the talking point for the next week or so, I can imagine. It looked so good, and it's great to see him back.
You never saw it coming. Right, there we go. We've got it out of the way. Okay, good. Yeah, I think it's sparked a whole conversation, whereas everyone was saying, ending of that WWE Championship match was a bit crap, and then whatever that Universal Championship main event was iffy at best, but it has completely changed the conversation. Now people are saying, well, is Roman Reigns the leader of Retribution? Is Roman Reigns a heel, or is Roman Reigns just a badass with a bit of an edge that we've been looking for years, and he's taken off the bloody vest?
He looks great, man. He looks the vest may still be part of the gimmick because we don't know. He was obviously wearing a t-shirt, but even the t-shirt was brilliant. Wreak everyone and leave, or something. What was it? Wreck everyone and leave, I think it said. Which just, it was very, very Stone Cold-esque. Arrive, of course, I'll raise hell, then leave. But he just looked, I couldn't get over how good he looked. If you're looking for a star, if you're looking for the company's guy, someone who's looking like your typical film star, rock star, superstar, the lad just turned up and looked the absolute part. I'm telling you now.
Funny thing is, we were talking about this the other day about whose entrance would look the best in the Thunderdome, and we were saying Roman Reigns, but he's not coming back. Obviously, he tore through Braun Strowman and the Fiend. Said some choice words to them. I made you to Braun Strowman. He had said something about you can't handle the pressure, or something along those lines to the Fiend, basically. It's going to be the main talking point, obviously, off the back of SummerSlam. But we should talk about the pay-per-view. Let's talk about it in order. We'll go through all the fallout from it. Let's start on the kickoff show with the United States Championship match. Apollo Crews defending against MVP. Kind of with just a overplayed thing that I say every time on these what went downs, but it was just a Raw Championship match basically. Apollo Crews winning after reversing the Playmaker into his chuck you up in the air powerbomb thing, and then just legging it before Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley, who'd been banned from ringside, could come down and get their hands on him.
Before the Hurt Business could put the hurt on his business, I think it's fair to say. Quick bob and weave, even that looked a bit iffy. I think what we will say is, I'll pluck out the best bits of this, is the fact that two teams who had lush ring gear on tonight. Nice opposing ends. Apollo was in white and gold and black and gold for the Hurt Business. Everything about this is working for me, for everybody involved. Whether it was Shelton Benjamin, whether it was MVP, whether it was Bobby Lashley, or indeed Apollo Crews. Genuinely, across the board, top stuff. The match was what it was. It was a by the numbers match, as you said, a Raw title match, pretty much. Not going to be remembered forever, but at the end of the day, I think the right move was made, keeping the belt on Apollo, and fascinated. I'm still interested to see where this goes. So, job done, I guess.
The main show started with a Smackdown Women's Championship match. Of course, Aska doing double duty at SummerSlam. She challenged Bayley for that Smackdown Women's Championship, and we'll get more into this as we get to the Sasha versus Aska match. But once again, only one half of the role models doing their job, it seems.
It seems one of them is more keen to help the other than the other way around, I guess, because Bayley seems to have got away with another one, doesn't she, somehow? Despite the fact that it could have probably gone the other way. It could have gone either way. We weren't sure how they were going to play this one out, but not all as it should be with these two, I think it's fair to say. Aska, again, looking great. Look, let's be honest, these three have been fantastic all of this period, and no change here. The first match of the two of the night. But just Sasha taking the hit for Bayley again, as always, as she does. We would then see the little play out later on in the night. Of course, we won't. We'll get to that, I'm sure. I think the right call though in the end, ultimately. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't think it makes Aska look weaker because of what happened a little bit later on. Bayley needed the victory after some losses. I think you can easily book, Bayley against Naomi now because of what happened on SmackDown to cause this order of matches, if that's the way I'm going to put it. And yeah, like you say, Sasha taking that hip attack from being on the apron to allow Bayley to suddenly get the pinfall, which then feed into the match later on. Bayley's gear, are you going to say this a lot? We're going to talk about everyone's gear quite a lot probably, but you were a fan of that as well.
Ring gear was back in full force at SummerSlam. Always a big event. Always nice to see people coming out and dressing for the event, as you'd imagine. Bayley had this, it was blue, it was gold, it was black, it was delicious. It was everything you'd want from ring gear. Sasha in a tracksuit. You knew she was going to reveal her gear later on, and she did. We weren't left hanging for that. But I think ultimately, more of the same from these three. If that means we get more versions of this match going forward and stuff, I'm all for it. All for it. Top stuff from all involved for this one.
And completing the trifecta of title retentions next, it was the Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel Garza for those Raw Tag Team Championships. And effectively, the headline coming off the back of this is, so nothing came from Montez Ford being poisoned.
No.
In the end, what actually happened was Zelina Vega took a bump off the apron after a bit of a collision involving Angelo Dawkins, I want to say. Maybe Montez Ford, actually. And then he tagged in.
It was Ford, yeah. Ford was the one.
Yes, and Angel Garza. So that all happens. Angel Garza is unaware that Zelina Vega has been knocked off the apron. Andrade, though, is checking on her. Angel Garza turns around to get the tag. No one there. Turns around, gets hit by the cash out from the Street Profits for the 1, 2, 3. I just went straight to 2 there. I don't know why. But anyway, what do you think of this match, Adam Nicholas?
Yeah, I think it kind of was what it was. I think it's fair that this lot of friction that we're seeing between Andrade and Angel Garza again. Street Profits getting a retain. I think it would have been harsh and cruel to take the belts off them after. As I think it was Phil who pointed it out on WhatCulture on Friday. It was like, you can't poison them and then take the belts off them as well. Just fell harsh. To which I said, yes, they can. It's WWE. But they didn't. They retained the belt again. More beautiful ring gear. This the boys, the Street Profits in all green, and Angel Garza and Andrade in blue. Are we going to see the big split, or is this just a bit of a friction? We haven't had that confirmed properly just yet, but I'm fascinated. And to be fair, if we ever get the match down the line with Andrade and Angel Garza, and Zelina Vega has to pick between one of them, it's going to be good.
Yeah, I can't see them sticking together for much longer. Their track record isn't great, and I don't know with this. I don't know when the draft is, but it's looming, and I feel like that might be a good thing to just shift some people about. Yeah, I think that's the best way to go. They're all 4 guys in this match are so talented, but I think we've seen this combination of things more than enough now. So we'll see where they go next with this. One thing we can tell you is that Sonia Deville is leaving WWE, or at least in storyline. Maybe she's going to appear on Raw Underground. Is that WWE? I don't know. They'd be bloody stupid if they let her go properly. She lost the Loser Leaves WWE match featuring Mandy Rose. They didn't mess about on this one. They really went for it. There was some issues of timing in there, but I thought they did a good job. They really told the story about their feud well in this match, and I don't want to bring reality too much into this, but with what's gone on with Sonya Deville outside of the squared circle, maybe for the best that she takes a bit of time off, because she must have had a horrific experience.
Yeah, I think it's such a shame, because these two were doing brilliant work, and for such a horrible personal life issue to kind of, and let's be honest, it affected them both, and we're both together at the time of the person broke into the house and all this kind of thing. I don't want to dwell too much on that, because I don't want to give that person any more airtime than they deserve, but these two, fair play to them for actually going out there and having this match and having to try and put it on. You could tell it was affecting. I think it felt like that was definitely the undertone. This was like a hurdle, I guess, because you got to get this match through. It's the biggest event. It's a hard job to do, and to do it with that kind of mental weight must just been so difficult. Obviously, in the end, as we said, Mandy Rose, the one who got the win. Some vicious knees from both women throughout, vicious kicks and knees and all sorts. It was played the best way it probably could have been given the circumstances. Mandy getting the win, and Sonia probably quite desperately like venting a bit of like frustration at the end because she's obviously having to leave. But I think ultimately it's probably been a very stressful time for her, and it was really hard to kind of get away from the undertones in this one. Like Otis came out at the end to try and just distract a bit and celebrate with Mandy, but even she looked like she was finding it difficult to keep a smile on her face, which, to be fair, is pretty understandable.
Probably because of the bad way she attempted that caterpillar as well, though, to be fair.
She did do a reverse caterpillar, and I don't think there's any excuses for that, but I'll give her a break, I think, in this situation.
Yes, the end was Mandy Rose hitting Sonia Deville with a running knee, as you mentioned there, for the victory, for the pinfall victory. And then it's just trying to be like, try not to think about Sonia having to leave WWE now. I'll do a caterpillar for everyone. And
I am.
A worm? A cat? I don't know what this is anyway. Let's move on next to the street fight involving Seth Rollins and Dominic Mysterio. We have to mention gear again here. Seth Rollins paying homage to Dom's dad with his Halloween Havoc 97 gear. It was a chef's kiss touch. But the one everyone is going to be talking about after this match is bloody Angie.
We now have a new heel in the world of wrestling, and Angie is it. I should clarify this. Angie, the Mysterio, the wife of Rey Mysterio, just did not actually turn heel. That wasn't legitimately what happened. However, as her own son was being beaten by a kendo stick and her husband was handcuffed to the ropes, she just stood at the top of the ramp, did not come down to help anybody. I mean, ice in her veins, this woman. She
distracted Ray whilst her son was almost blinded on the ring steps.
Yeah, she was not involved. Like, I get there was also the moment where Seth was walking towards her, which I get for that made sense.
Yeah.
Like, it did work, but I guess there was too much time between it. So we're sat on the live stream, and I should point out for all of these match ratings and reviews from us, or whatever you want to call them, we have to give you the caveat. We were doing this on the live stream, so we were kind of half in, half out, distracted with comments and all sorts, but it was just hilarious. She was stood there doing nothing as our literal son and husband were getting the I nearly swore there. We're getting the rubbish beat out of them.
Rollins took quite the receipt from Dom.
He did, and then he also had a bunch more hits on Dom with the kendo stick as well.
But yes, Seth's back looked rough as all hell in this. There was a spot where he got his leg swept by Dominic Mysterio. They both crashed through a table, and then Dom, in tribute to his dad, hit a 5-star frog splash. As you mentioned, then we had all the shenanigans with Ray and Angie and handcuffs and what have you. In the end, it looked like Dominic Mysterio may steal one. He had a roll up here or there that got some close 2 counts. And then as Dominic went to the top after hitting a 619 to hit a frog splash, he unfortunately got caught by Rollins' knees, and as he was crawling towards his father, his dad watching on, Seth Rollins, the bastard that he is, curb stomped him. But it was a really good showing by Dominic Mysterio, not helped by Pat McAfee's performance at TakeOver, I should say.
Pat raised the bar slightly for him, didn't he? I think that was the difficulty. I like to say it. I thought it was a really good performance from Dominic. I really did think he put a good shift in. Didn't look out of place at all. Didn't look uncomfortable in the ring. Didn't look like he didn't belong at all. And ultimately, I did quite like the finish, albeit the Angie stuff where she just didn't do anything. Ray being handcuffed to the rope and Seth curb stomping Dom in front of him was very good stuff indeed.
I wouldn't be surprised if they suddenly decided to do a bloody tag match or something at Payback.
I think that could be where we're headed. Yeah, it could be.
But who knows where they go next. Next up, match of the night, you'd say probably as well. Aska versus Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's Championship. And akin to what happened earlier, just more nuance to this. I mean, more importantly than this match, I'd say, Bayley and Sasha's storyline. Michael Hamflett came on and pointed out that Sasha was wearing gear in homage to Bayley from their match from all those years ago. Bayley not returning the favour, and again, not returning the favour in this match for Sasha either, which kind of cost her the whole thing.
So this was a nice tie-in because we had everybody who'd worn white and gold to this point on the show had won, and that is a theme and a recurring theme of SummerSlam, going back to SummerSlam 2015, I want to say, where Seth won both belts and Bayley won the previous night at the takeover, hence the white and gold, which is what Michael Hamflett's referring to there. This match was great though, because that was the thing in the back of all of our minds is that Bayley had just won her match previous, so we knew that was already one and down. I'm worried about Aska at this point because you don't want her to lose both probably. But also we knew that Sasha had made the sack.
I forgot to point out she got jumped after the match by Sasha.
Sasha beat her down, didn't she? So there was a lot on the plate, but that was enough time had elapsed for her to rest, you'd hoped. I think ultimately though, Sasha looked aggressive throughout this match. Aska looked aggressive. The both of them were kicking lumps out of each other throughout the fight. Literally, it genuinely could have gone either way, I think, on the night for both of these matches here. But ultimately, it would boil down to that sacrifice play the same way around it had pretty much happened. Only Bayley was not there to take the bump that Sasha had that had taken the previous match, which left Sasha wide open. It was being choked out after a couple of attempts. Sasha had tried to get the bank statement. Aska had tried to get the Aska lock. It all gone had a few close calls, and then finally she had her in it, and Sasha was crying out for Bayley. Brilliant stuff. This desperate for our mate to come and help her, but Bayley was nowhere to be found, Mr. Wilborn.
No, I mean, I want to give a mention as well to that sunset flip bump to the outside.
Oh, yeah, God.
Which was just horrible looking, like impressively. I think they're both fine, I mean, but just, that'll stay with me. And there was a diving DDT, I think, in there as well in there somewhere. But yeah, Bayley didn't take the hip attack. She tried to dodge it and then eventually got clipped off the apron by Aska, who eventually, locked Sasha into the Aska lock, as you say, crying out for some help. Bayley unable to make it in there in time. Sasha taps out. Aska is yet again Raw Women's Champion. Indeed. Sasha Banks yet again has failed to defend a title on pay-per-view. And there was just some wonderful shots and great facials from Sasha and Bayley, with Sasha looking despondent at Bayley and Bayley just looking down and going, well, I've still got my 2 belts, and you've still got the tag belt, so we're fine, right? It's all good. It's all good. Unquestionably the match of the night, and a really enjoyable one. It was followed by the WWE Championship match, Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. Now, my internet went down for this for the most part, but it doesn't sound like I missed much. You kind of archetypal Randy Orton match until the finish.
Yeah, I have to say a big caveat here is that we were trying to sort out your internet. I was trying to get you back on the stream. So we weren't admittedly 100% present for this match. But when we did return fully, Randy Orton had Drew in a chin lock. So I have a feeling that we didn't really get too much. There was a lot, I noticed it was a lot of 2 blokes standing head to head, beating each other. Lots of chops, lots of punches, as you can imagine. Slow match, methodical match. Heel tactics from Orton at all times, eye pokes, you name it, he was doing it. He was on top of Drew for the majority of it. But I feel like maybe as we went along, they both got busted open as well, we should point out, with shots to the head. And I think that was a point though where you started to wonder, maybe was Randy going to be the one to come out on top?
Yeah, I thought there was a moment when he was setting up for the punt that I thought they could just pull the trigger on this one, to be honest. He cut all the corners, like I said, archetypal Randy Orton kind of match, and then sets up for the punt. He's got that wonderful trickle of blood going down his forehead, which just made him look like even more of an evil git than he actually is. Goes to the punt. Drew McIntyre reverses it into a powerbomb, sets up for the Claymore, misses with that. Randy Orton pops up. Here we go. We've seen this a million times before. You'll never see it coming. RKO. Nope. We have Drew McIntyre reversing it into a backslide for a 1, 2, 3. They really sell. Oh, Randy Orton never saw that one coming, did he? A backslide. Okay. I sense this may be run back at Payback, but I don't know. I mean, a successful defense and a good match between these two.
Probably about the best match you were going to get, I think, from these two. In the circumstances, what we were expecting was pretty much what we got, I think. I do think that's probably the caveat there, that you could say maybe a Payback, that they say, well, you beat me with a backslide. It was lucky you didn't put the exclamation point on. There was no Claymore per se properly to get the victory. So there's that little question mark. But I don't know. Randy still got a lot of momentum, man. This Legend Killer rethink has worked for him. So don't be surprised if we see this match again.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so weird with a pay-per-view in.
I know. Like literally
6 days or whatever it is now. Right, main event time. Braun Strowman defending the Universal Championship against the Fiend. This was Falls Count Anywhere. They made the most of it. They bumped all around ringside. They brawled into the back. They lobbed each other at tellies and what have you. There was a Sister Abigail or something backstage. Eventually, they brawled back into the ring. And Braun Strowman is a bloody idiot, Adam Nicholas.
Braun Strowman is a bloody idiot, Adam Wilborn. You're not wrong there. And I never like to just rag on a match just for the sake of ragging on it. But this was just crap, man. I didn't enjoy this at all. I really couldn't engage with it. It felt hard to really get into it, full stop. There was nothing there to tell a story. It wasn't for me. But ultimately, Braun Strowman, who has the match won, we should probably point out pretty much. He had the Fiend pretty much incapacitated, decides to go and get a Stanley knife, cut open the ring, expose the boards, and ultimately that means the Fiend would be smarter than he was. Got on him, hit him with the Sister Abigail, hit him with the Uranagi, I think, as well, maybe. And just ultimately, I keep saying ultimately, God, I'm tired. But basically ends up putting Braun to pasture with the boards that he's exposed because Braun is an idiot, as you just described there. So, yeah, well done, Braun. Top work, this. The work of a champion? I don't think so.
Got too emotional, that's the thing. But then, like you say, it felt like a very low ebb to finish this on. Like I'd always said from the beginning they should put the Universal Championship back on the Fiend. Goldberg and all that nonsense should never have happened.
The right call, by the way, in the end.
Unquestionably. But it just felt like, and obviously with the weird atmosphere that you have with even being in the Thunderdome, it was just kind of 1, 2, 3. That's it. Oh. We all felt a bit like, we've got a bit of a curse, me and you, of dodgy pay-per-views. And then, with his new teeth, with his big bloody arms and his tight t-shirt and his hair that's always perpetually wet, in he comes, Roman Reigns. He spears Bray, he spears Braun, he goes and gets a chair and just beats the crap out of Braun Strowman, spears the Fiend again, picks up the Universal Championship, holds it up, and as we go off the air, we're left with that wonderful image, a downed Fiend and a champion Roman Reigns, who did the spear, I must add, the second time, without doing the ooh-ah. Don't know if he's a heel, don't know if he's just a badass, but good God, it is good to have him back. Like you say, he passes the airport test.
100%. Like, literally, the man looked like $1 million. Like, now, admittedly, having all that time to train and looking jacked as all hell, having all that time to get his teeth sorted, having all that time to have a tan that was on point. He looked, honestly, like, just do whatever you want. Like, do whatever you want in this company. Like, why not? You are a star. He's made himself. Vince in the back must have just been, like, I've said it already, but I can't even imagine what he'd be watching that footage for the next week. Just, he will not be dry for quite some time, I think it's fair to say.
Yes, I mean, we talked about his return, obviously following leukemia before, and just it wasn't botched, I'd say, it was just more bungled, that he was like, oh, okay, he's going to probably win the Universal Championship at WrestleMania, and then obviously he had to go away because the ongoing global bastard and his, medical issues and the way those two things sort of intersect. We don't really know the full details of this, but he appears to be back, and don't screw this up. You have got Roman Reigns where you've always wanted him to be now. There's your chance. Put the Universal Championship on him, or, just put him. You don't even have to do that straight away, actually, because that'll just get people going, oh, I'll put the bloody title on him. Just put him in matches that he can do stuff like he did in this one, and just showcase what an athlete he is. Brilliant to have Roman Reigns back. And Adam Nicholas, we broke the curse.
We broke the bloody curse, didn't we? We had a good pay-per-view. We actually had an enjoyable... All right, we had a couple of technical hitches on the stream. What else is new? But that ending actually ended up saving our pay-per-view, which means everything, minus the main event, plus the ending to the pay-per-view, was bloody good. Like, across the board, good stuff.
Three and a bit hours. It flew by.
It did. It really did.
And so can't complain about all that, but do let us know your thoughts on SummerSlam. And
what
happens next with Roman Reigns and The Fiend and Braun Strowman and what have you. Let us know in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. I'm sure the conversation around some of the fallout from this is going to continue into the next week. Of course, Payback next weekend, of course. You can also let us know your thoughts on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE and watch there. Follow both of us. You can follow Adam Nicholas at
It's Adam Nicholas. I forgot my own name there for a second. You can also follow Adam Wilborn
at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. This has been the biggest party of the summer. So there you go.
Hey.
That's been our thoughts on it. Good God, it's good to have Roman Reigns back. But for now, my thanks to Adam Nicholas. Thank you for joining us. We will see you soon.
Bye.